No, honestly, that is nonsense. Nonsense. All nonsense.
It's embarrassing. It's a disgrace.
Yeah, I'm really disappointed about that question, but you thought obviously it's good. I enjoy every day of it. We're giving our supporters some joy and some belief and some hope.
You know, there's no law. There's no one's going to die.
Yeah, bin it, mate. Just bin the whole idea. Just forget about it.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a No Nonsense podcast. Last week, I said, we're just waiting, Will. We're just waiting for 3 to come 2 and 2 to come 1. I never imagined the possibility that 3 could become 1 in the space of one game week. Yet here we are. It seems like it's over. And I think it's mainly because it's City. And there's an aura, if you will, that you just won't catch him from this point of the season.
I saw an amazing stat I couldn't believe. Again, every week it feels now there's a new crazy stat. This is one of my favorites.
We should get into more stats. We don't do enough stats.
It makes sense why everyone else does them. Arsenal have not won a game in April since 2021.
Oof.
Crunch time in all competitions.
Yeah, that is kind of crunch time anyway you cut it. Well, look, we'll get into Arsenal and Liverpool. I won't say the B word. I'm not going to say that.
We wouldn't dare.
But I'll say drop points. They've dropped points in this game week. And City are now, all that City have to do is win their next 5 games, I guess. It's 6 games, 5 games.
That is a bet now. Like if someone came to you at any stage in the season and was like, I bet you 100 quid City will not win 5 of their next 6 games, you'd probably go, I'll take that.
Yeah.
That sounds like a terrible bet for you.
We'll also talk a little bit about Chelsea's M&F game. It feels like the first time they've had an M&F in a while, or certainly the first one I've cared to look at. Before that, Will, we have a very special comment corner. Play the music.
I wish I could give this feeling. I wish I could give this feeling.
We've had some accusations leveled at us in Comment Corner in the past. There's some all new ones here.
Our first ever race row, I think.
We made it.
Race
We're a real
controversy.
podcast now.
But it's not the race you might think.
So 2 episodes ago, or an episode ago, one main episode ago, I suppose, we talked about celebrations and we had a good laugh over how lame Robbie Keane's celebration was in hindsight and how white it was.
Yes.
I didn't think that's a controversial thing to say. I think that's a pretty standard thing. White people kind of lame a lot of the time.
Yeah, it's. I guess it's a safe one. You know,
I thought that.
A few of the comments mentioned it, but if we'd said that was a X other race celebration, that would have been like, whoa, Will, I know we should keep that in. But because I said it was a very unathletic celebration, and you said, very white, and I chimed in, I was like, yeah, absolutely, very white, not thinking that this is a bad thing to say. I should have pulled you up in Will. I should have paused the podcast and said, hey, I will not tolerate this kind of racist behavior on the pod. But I didn't. I cowered and I went along with the joke. That's on me, you know. What can I say?
So we put up a clip of that. Put one up yesterday. And it's just us talk about it and some clips of him doing it. I also will say we had forgotten the cartwheel, which does make it more athletic, admittedly.
Debatable.
But anyway, so that clip went up and I uploaded it, and I'd say 2 minutes after uploading, I saw it had 8 comments or something on TikTok. And the only times this has happened in the past is when there's been chaos in the comment section, and it's happened again.
Yeah.
So, well, first of all, we had a classic from user 267237373. He said they should make podcast microphones more expensive.
Fair.
Those were the comments. Like the usual, like, not everyone needs a podcast that, which is a comment on every single podcast clip you've ever seen.
Yeah.
But then it went bizarre. Dublin Boy 13 said, "What's white about it? Could you explain, please?" Which we did, unathletic.
Unathletic, which is, you know, maybe we are a bit wrong in saying that. Maybe we shouldn't be, we are kind of terming the online ourselves.
It was more the finger guns I was talking about as white.
I guess white's kind of like a byword for nerdy or dorky or whatever. And you know, it's usually people kind of it's water from duck's back. It's like, yeah, whatever. There's a lot of white people out there, we're not all turned by the same brush. We're not a minority, so it's like it's fine to say it. But I guess in this instance, people took umbrage with it. And also, Will, I was thinking about this as well when I was reading these comments. There is different categories of celebrations, like celebration is in the athletic zone, same as like the nanny is in the athletic zone. Nabry's when he's cooking,
Yes.
That's not an action. That's more of an emote. It's not a kind of
Yeah.
watch this feat of athleticism. The Cole Palmer one, the shivering, that's not athletic at all. It's not about race. It's about the type of celebration category you're in. And here's one, Ronaldo's one. Well, that's kind of on the line because it's not like, that's not that athletic. He just kind of jumps and turns until you see other people try to do it. And they never do as
they
well.
don't get anywhere near as high.
There's a level of kind of skill and dexterity to do that thing. There's different categories of them. It's not about, race. It's just like if you're going to do it at a leg celebration, which is tumbling and rolling and jumping, that's at the bottom rung. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that is on the chart of that to nanny, it's way down there.
Yeah, way down there. It's a very on leg celebration.
Apple user 737564 said, Numpty's bringing up this race shite to try go viral again. Which, two things. What do you mean again? We've never gone viral.
Not
and also,
really,
what do you mean bringing up this race shit again?
Yeah, bring his race.
What does he think the clips we're putting up are?
I hope he doesn't not confusing us with another racist podcast.
Just to wrap it up, I'll say there was a few. So that was one element of the comments. But there was another element, which this was what I was expecting. Robbie Keane loyalists, supporters, which we ourselves, we fucking love Robbie Keane.
Do you know how many times I did that celebration when I was a kid, to the point I got made fun of for doing it after scoring a goal? Everyone did that. Who doesn't like Robbie Keane's our age? It's not an anti-Robbie Keane thing at all. It's just a comment on the celebration.
Well, I could
itself.
see that. I could see people being like, "Oh, now podcasts are now Robbie Keane's not cool." I get that.
He was cool when I was a kid, but if I was in my 20s back then, I don't know how cool I would have thought what it was. I would have been happy with scoring goals in the World Cup, but I wouldn't have said he was cool.
This is the thing. So lots of people were defending Robbie Keane, and a lot of people were saying things along this line. Iconic celebration, kindly jog on was a comment we got.
Yeah.
And we got a few of those of being like, it's one of the best celebrations ever. What are you talking about? Blah, blah. So I looked into it. Have you ever heard Robbie Keane's thoughts on his iconic celebration?
I have not ever heard them, no, Will.
So, this is from July 2020. Robbie Keane was a guest on BBC's Match of the Day podcast with Gary Lineker.
Never heard
of it.
of
asked about it.
Never heard of this.
Me neither.
Probably another race-baiting podcast.
Definitely not a podcast anymore, I'd say.
Yeah.
He was asked about the celebration and he said, what do you think of it looking back on it now? And Robbie Keane, and I quote, said, I hate watching it. We used to play games at Tottenham or wherever, and I'd go into the analysis guy before the manager showed it on Monday, and I'd say, take my celebration out. Do not put my celebration in. When asked why he continued to do the celebration if he hated it so much, Keane responded, as soon as I score, everything changed. Before I go out, I'd always say, I'm not going to do it. I'm not doing it today. But as soon as you score, everything changes and you forget what you said and you go off on a mad one.
He had that post-celebration clarity after he did it every time. It's like, again, Robbie, come on. I could just see Robbie Keane in the mirror in the Tottenham dressing room beforehand. It's like, come on, Robbie, we got to go out. I was like, no, give me a second. You're not doing the celebration today. Look at me. Look at me. Don't do it. Don't do it. You're better than this.
He's saying that like you hear a drug addict talking about relapse, and it's just like, that's it. I'm done with it now. And then just something goes off in your head and you go, oh, one more cartwheel won't hurt.
Yeah, look, this is, to be clear, not against Robbie Keane, just against the celebration in a category of very athletic flips and tricks. But I will say, I'll give him points for continually doing the celebration. Not many people were doing flips every week like he was. He scored a lot of goals. There's a lot of cartwheels, a lot of roly-polies.
He was doing it against his own will. That's how that's how used to doing it he was. That's commitment.
That's real commitment, Maybe it's the most Irish celebration ever, Will. How about that?
There we go.
Because it was lame and it was uncool. Yet because he was good, we're like, this is the best celebration ever,
Yeah.
You can do anything in this country if you're good. People get on the bandwagon. It's an iconic celebration. What are you talking about? It's like, yeah, fair. And it is for me as well. I'm not like some guy who was born in 2006, never seen Robbie Keane play in my life. Was he even that good? You're just a nostalgia merchant, Will. I'm not saying that, I watched it. I watched the 2002 World Cup. Okay, it was one of the greatest things of my life. But I mean, the celebration is not athletic.
And that's final.
That's fine. But maybe we shouldn't have said white. We won't say that in the future, maybe, you know. We'll target the other races going forward, okay? Right. That out of the way, Will. From one celebration merchant to another celebration merchant, Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer.
What a player. He is now level with Haaland at the top of the goal scoring table in the Premier League.
This is like Anelka at Bolton.
Ooh.
This is like a team who's really not good. One player who just can't stop scoring. They're not going to achieve a lot this year, but he's going to score a lot of goals. Is there a scenario, Will, where Cole Palmer gets bought back to City?
No, see, I was thinking this. And he had said during the summer that, like, you know, he loved City, but he doesn't have the freedom there. You know, he's not getting the guaranteed minutes and he can't just, you know, express himself on the pitch.
Yeah.
And he's shown now that if you just get Cole Palmer, put him in your team and go, do whatever the hell you want. Just give him the ball, let him do what he wants. He'll get your results. Whereas if he goes back to City, he's back to tap it. Cut it back to Grealish. He's got to cut it back to someone else.
Yeah, Grealish is probably a good example. Grealish should do bits in this Chelsea team too, wouldn't he?
Yeah, 100%. All these like flair players, well, not flair players, that's probably unfair, but like
extremely talented footballers.
yeah. There's a reason these lads are stars.
Yeah.
At the teams when they're allowed to just do what they want because they're unbelievable.
Yeah, it's every player in the Premier League at some point in their life, be it like their like province or their like school or their street, were the best player that people had ever seen in their lives. Like,
Yeah.
people are saying, you know, Dunk for Brighton.
Yeah.
Guarantee people grew up with Dunk. Like, that guy's going all the way at the top. He is insanely good. Like, he's so big and he's so good at football. He's going all the way to the very top. And in many ways he has. I mean, he's played for England, for Christ's sake. But like, you know, this is the thing. All these players have unbelievable ability. It's if you fit into a system and kind of high level tactics and positions and all that stuff. But he is, Will, a boyhood Man United fan.
He is.
They're pushing that narrative now. They're really pushing that out.
Now that is one I wouldn't rule out. Not this summer though, but definitely give it time. That seems like that's always the type of player United like to buy. The star, especially a star English player. They love that shit.
Yeah. It would be a disaster, I think, for himself. I mean, twice a year you're going to Stamford Bridge and Man City and getting booed off the pitch. You know, in a team that's not that good. You know, like if you go to City, it's like, we'll probably win the game, I'll get booed, but, you know, I'll be fine. You're going to a Man United team and you're the star. You have to win this game for us, and you're getting like whistled and booed the whole game. It's a lot harder, you know?
Because it's interesting. Chelsea and United are obviously similar, but it doesn't feel like Chelsea get half the hammerings from the media if they don't do well.
Well, not recently. It's got boring, you know? I mean, it's just like, we've accepted it now. It's like, well, they're just bad.
But it feels like when it happens to Chelsea, because of the way they've bought all these players, and it feels like the criticisms are leveled at the club.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's none of the players' fault. It's not their fault. They were all bought into this chaos. Whereas United, things are leveled at the club, but then a lot of pundits hate that and they love leveling at the players and the manager instead. It's like, oh, it's not fucking the Glazers' fault. They couldn't score this, but you know, that whole thing. Like,
yeah. If this was Man United, people making the joke. Did you see Todd Bowley trying to take that penalty? A disgrace.
Exactly.
You know, that was the big talk point from the game because, of course, you win 6-0 against a struggling relegation side. You know, happy days. Nope. There's a controversy on the pitch. It seemed to stem from, at this point now, they're 4-0 up, right?
Yeah.
Madueke, he wins the penalty, or he thinks he's won the penalty. They're actually giving it for a foul on Cole Palmer.
It was Palmer.
So straight away, his reasoning is wrong, and he wants to take the penalty. Nick Jackson, so he's like, I'm on it for a brace here. You know, this could be a classic Nick Jackson performance on a brace, and he's like, I want the penalty. You got Malo Gusto like grabbing him by the back of the neck, trying to pull him away, which just make him madder. Eventually, he agrees. You know what? You won the penalty. Fair enough. I'm mad about this, but you know, I'll give it to you because you won the penalty. And then Cole Palmer goes, I'm the penalty taker. What the hell are you guys doing?
And I won the penalty, idiot.
He takes the ball off Madueke. I think actually, to be fair, Captain Fantastic, Gallagher
stepped
takes
up,
the ball off. Madueke has clearly no respect for him whatsoever. He's like, what the hell are you doing? And he tries to get the ball back off him. Gallagher's like holding him back, trying his best to hold him back. Then fucking Jackson comes back and goes, well, hang on, you didn't win the penalty, you know. I want to give him because he won the penalty, you know, like children out there, you know.
Genuinely, it's very rare you see something in a game of football, because again, these are all like super high level athletes. They're millionaires. Their lives are amazing.
Yeah.
It's very rare you see something where you cringe. You're like, oh, this is embarrassing, lads.
I think they're all on this idea that, right, this Chelsea thing is a disaster of a project. None of us are going to get blamed. We still have this kind of idea that we're all good players. We're in a bad system, but you need to have some kind of stats to back that up. So they saw this as an opportunity to pad their stats and say, look, I finished with this one goal, this one assist in a bad Chelsea team. You know, that's what they're looking at. 6 games left. It's the equivalent of the NBA playoffs. Like, they're out of all contention and everything. It's like this is garbage time. We should just get our own stats, which points to like bad leadership, I guess, on the pitch, from the management, from higher ups, that like you're thinking this individualistically. You know, you're not thinking of like, you know, processes, systems. Like Palmer's penalty taker, that's what it is. You know, when that changes, that changes. But like right now, that should be the system. It matters if you're 1-0 up or, you know, 4-0 up. And it was Dele Alli on M&F who made a very good point that I didn't see anybody try and take the ball off Cole Palmer when it was 98 minutes and it was, you know, 3-2 against Man United. No one was like, oh, I want to take this one, Cole. You know, give this to me, you know. They're all sitting back waiting for him to save them. So like, you can't have it both ways, but I think it is just this kind of idea that like, get as many goals as you can and then head off in the summer. Hopefully it's somewhere better.
And like you said, it's just, this was your chance to be like, hey, maybe this Chelsea team isn't so bad. You know, maybe things are looking up. And then no one's talking about how you won 6-0. No one cares, because all anyone remembers is, God, this team is an absolute shambles, isn't it?
Well, this is why, because like, it's not a team. Clearly it's not a team. They're all in it for themselves and they're good players and they'll beat, you know, bad teams and teams going badly like Everton. But you know, there really isn't any hope for this collection of players because that's all they are. You know, there's nothing kind of bind them together. When you're 4-0 up and you're fighting with each other because you're just trying to get your stats looking better on Transfermarkt, you know, it's like, you're doomed. You're absolutely doomed. So, yeah.
Because it points to not only did Palmer, who already got a hat-trick, and he's obviously now chasing Golden Boot, so I can see why he wants to take it. But you would see that sometimes other teams was like, Nick Jackson's not going well. A goal would do a lot for him. I'll let him take it or whatever. Or for them, the other way around, to say, Cole Palmer's on fire. Jeez, keep at it. He might win a fucking Ballon d'Or if he stays at this rate. Let's do it for him.
Yeah.
It was none of that. They couldn't care less about each other.
No, even you might look at a Golden Boot would be huge for the club for us to say, well, we have the Golden Boot. Like, there's nothing. There's no one thing like that. And I'm not trying to say Cole Palmer is guilt-free in this either. Like, sure, he's a penalty taker. But, you know, it's 4-0 up. He's got a hat-trick. He could just say, right, fucking let them on. Like, I don't give a shit, you know. But he's also saying, well, I want to get out here too. You know, you know, and not that he was in the wrong at all.
Doing this again next year.
But not to say that he's not also thinking the same thing. You know, like, I don't think there's anybody there. I mean, it was Thiago Silva was on the pitch. He was talking to them both, put his arm around both of them for a second. But there's just no talking. They have no respect for anybody on the pitch there. It's like, lads, like, we're on a team. Like, get off me. I'm taking this penalty, you know.
Like, that is actually a good point, that the fact that, like, football legend Thiago Silva, like, I always remember that tweet where an incredible tackle from Thiago. What a career he's had every time he's on the ball, because he's such an amazing player and has such a storied career. Like, the fact that they're not even listening to him, like, he tries to talk to two of them, they just blow him off instantly. They're like, shut the fuck up. What would you know, Thiago Silva?
Yeah. So probably Robbie Keane, Thiago Silva. We didn't see him play, right? Yeah, it was a really bad look. It's the contracts. I mean, so many players there want to leave and need to leave, and you need to start from scratch. There was Gilchrist got a goal. Alfie Gilchrist, probably the most over-celebrated 6th goal I've ever seen.
What the hell was that about?
It was his first goal, and he's a homegrown player, so that was a huge moment for him. So that's like, that might be a little green shoot that like they're still producing players at that, but I think if the stars are like self-centered like that, you're going nowhere. So yeah, I wonder where they go from this summer. I think it could be a huge summer for them in terms of getting players out, but I don't know where they are at with the financial fair play. I don't know what tightrope they're on right now. I don't know what they can afford to do, but things definitely change there.
And like all it takes is one of those players who's not performing well, but he's on really good money and he's guaranteed good money for the next 7 years, 8 years. All it takes is for him to go, no, I'm not going to leave actually. And then you're done. You have to just keep him in the team. And now you have to I'm not going to buy a third striker, am I?
Yeah. Or you wouldn't mind them. If they want to stay, then at least they want to be there, you know? Like for the money, sure. But like at least if they're happy to be in Chelsea for the next 5 years, then that's a team you can build around. But I think those players looking for that fifth goal in a 5-0 win, they're not in it for anybody but themselves, you know. So
Cole Palmer said that we had a laugh about it after the game. You know, it doesn't mean anything. But Cole Palmer, interestingly, also said the manager did talk to us too. He wasn't happy.
Yes, yeah, they asked him.
Poch was on Monday Night Football after he's interviewed. He also, I will say, he was interviewed before the game, and he was literally beaming from ear to ear to see Dele Alli. Like, he was so happy. He's like, oh my God, Dele.
Yeah.
It was such a nice little moment in football, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, we mentioned that Dele Alli was on M&F, and they asked, not him now, but they asked Pochettino after the game about the penalty situation. And I thought it was interesting what he said was, yeah, no, it's unacceptable. It'll never happen again. It's childish, all the rest of it. Cole Palmer's a penalty taker, and if he wants to give it away, then he can give it away. It's like, no, like it should be more strict than that. It should be you are the penalty taker. Like, you get to score the ones when you're up 4-0, and you have to take the ones when you're down. Like, that's what it is. That's the responsibility. We had a whole thing about this before, that there is nuanced penalties. You can't just take the easy ones and say, actually, does anyone else on this one? No. Is there anyone else to step up? Like, that's the good and the bad of being the penalty taker. You get to whatever, more goals on your CV, but you are there for the tough moments, you know. Yeah. Like Harry Kane in the World Cup, you know, you got that first one. It's like, oh, you have to take a second one now, and it's to get the safekeeper who you also your club mate. He couldn't give that to somebody else, even though they might have had a better chance statistically because he would have known them. But like, that's the gig, you know. I think even that, like Pochettino saying, yeah, he can get away if he wants. Like, oh, that's even bad leadership, I think. You know,
it was interesting seeing a manager so upfront about, like, and sometimes these things happen and you go, oh no, unacceptable, and then I'll handle it, you know,
internally,
blah, blah, blah. But in this, he went on TV and he said, I am so upset about the situation. We all agreed they were wrong. We can't show that type of behavior. It's like we were in a school and our job is to show them they were wrong so they can learn. Pochettino went on to apologize for the incident and the bad image of the club it presented. He also said, where's the next bit? It's impossible after a performance like this to have this type of behavior. It shows we still need to learn a lot. We are a great team fighting for big things, but I thought we behaved like kids today. When this happens, we need to learn and learn quick. Yeah,
no holding back there at all. You'd wonder, like I say, how much input he'll have as to who stays and who goes in the summer. If they're looking at Pochettino with an 8-year contract in their back pocket, like, what are you going to say to me, pal? You know?
With the teams in front of them, a lot of teams now are, like you said, it's winding down time for some teams.
Yeah.
I know it's winding down time for Man United, for sure, from what I'm seeing.
It's done,
so I could
bro.
easily see Chelsea creeping back up the table. If you finish in like a Conference League spot, or even if you finish in 8th but close to 7th,
Ooh.
It's not as bad as it could have been, or as bad as it was looking as the season was going on for Poch, I think.
The points total won't reflect the table or something like that. Something to that effect.
Yeah. It says here, actually, after those quotes, the result keeps Chelsea in 9th place on 47 points. But the teams in front, but only trailing the teams in front of them by 3 and with games in hand as they look to move up the table. So, like, if you finish in 7th, that's okay. We always say, it's what have you done for your life? If you win the last 3 games of the season, go, hey, that wasn't so bad. Even though you spent £1 billion on this team and you finished 8th or 7th.
And they're also still in the FA Cup. They play Man City this weekend.
That's true, yeah.
So if you were finished, 8th, 7th, and win the FA Cup, that's a bloody good year by anybody standards, no?
No, I don't know if they get by City, but it could be
they've done it before.
A derby, El Sacco FA Cup final.
Could be. Yeah, no, I mean, it's something that you'd wonder about Poch if he'll still be around, but yeah, they'll still have to play for like other teams maybe don't, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they go on this weekend against City. The game just gone, we had Arsenal and Liverpool dropping points, as we mentioned.
It's happened.
Yeah, I guess it was maybe more inevitable for me, anyways, for Liverpool than it was Arsenal.
Yeah. It feels like the FA Cup game against United broke something in that Liverpool team. And interestingly, did you see what Klopp said after the Palace game about the Man United game? Which I don't even think he was asked about it. He just was thinking about it, obviously. Klopp was asked, what the hell is going on, basically.
Hey, Klopp, what the hell is going on?
He said, I do not think the way we've dealt with the United games has helped. We lost the game in the FA Cup, and that has been like a catastrophe because we were that good and lost it anyway. Then we draw there in the league. Good for a long spell, but only drew. The problems in the United games were completely different to the things today. Yes, the goals we conceded are too easy. That's probably a general thing. But the players, me included, expected some kind of a reaction.
Yeah. Is Klopp saying that he's leaving at the end of the year affecting this team? Think a little bit, because every point they drop, every goal they concede, it's like, oh, this is one more title, one more trophy that they're not going to win under Klopp in his last season. Maybe not even like that obvious, but like it's in there, and not even in the players, but in the stand and stadium. Like Liverpool lost at home to Crystal Palace.
And it was the atmosphere in the last few Liverpool games has been terrible. I thought, like in Anfield, because like you said, it feels nervy. It feels like, oh, come on, lads, don't do this to Klopp.
Yeah, and there's a lot of memes going around of like the Carabao Cup, the only thing they win in his farewell season. It's like, sorry, I mean, what club you support? What have you won last fucking 10 years? Like, there's a lot of this kind of going around where you feel like there's this pressure building, but really, it's like, they've already won a trophy. It should be kind of everything else is a bonus. You've already won the league and the Champions League with Klopp. There shouldn't be this kind of pressure, but it feels like there is. I mean, I was watching that Crystal Palace goal again today, and I was like, it was such a slow goal. It felt like, and it was exactly the same as the goal they conceded against Brighton. Down that side, cut it back, kick it in, and then Liverpool came back and they got chances, and then they got the equaliser, and then it was like, oh yeah, it's inevitable. We're going to get the winner here, and then they got it, and it was grand. Everything like that, great performance. Like, you let them go a goal ahead, The next game, when they drew, they didn't get the goal back. This game, they didn't even draw. Like you can't kind of start like behind. Like the turn point is probably that Endo chance where he kind of scooped it up. Like that's the kind of scrappy equaliser you get. You get the ball back to the centre circle. The crowd gets up and it's cheering, and then it's like, oh yeah, any of those Darren chances or Curtis Jones, they all go in. But as those chances are happening, it's like, this is going to equalise. We need to score 2. When you have the one, it's like just one more goal. We've scored so many goals. It's just a slight psychological thing in the fans' mind in the stadium that like the pressure starts to build, and Anfield starts to close in on players rather than hype them up. So
the opposite.
I felt like you can't do this. You can't do this for 6, 7, 8 weeks. We saw it last year with Arsenal. Like these last minute winners, these like coming from behind wins. Like it's not sustainable. Yeah, this is why before City, they used to control things and suffocate them. Like, yeah, you'd have United teams that would like play on the edge and they'd kick players off. They'd slow the game down, like not in passing depth, but like they'd be very physical with them in the run in.
Yeah.
They wouldn't let them just like run through them in the last 6 games. They would like slow it down. Like there's very few fairy tale run-ins of teams who won us who were like, oh, those last 6 games were just, liquid football. It's like, no, it was like really slow, dogged 1-2-0 wins. That's how they won us. So like,
it's like one of the biggest cliches in football with that whole like, goals win games, but defense wins leagues.
Mm-hmm.
That's because that's what happens in the last 10 games. You fucking strap in and you like, don't let them score. That's what's actually important.
Yeah, you lock in those last games. And as I said, it wasn't always passing. It was like kicking, it was being a bit more physical. It was slowing the game down. It was not keep it tight. Don't do anything stupid. Like that's what you had to do. You don't let them go a goal ahead.
You know what's a word I would not use to describe this Liverpool team at the moment? Streetwise. But you know what I mean? Of just like, it feels like they always play the game of whoever they're against. Do you know what I mean? So if that other team are parking the bus, then Liverpool are like, we can't get through them, like pass it around. If their other team is like playing, like United playing just counter, Liverpool go, okay, we'll do that too. They don't stamp any control on any games at the moment, it feels like.
No, they're not. They don't seem to be in a lot of control. They seem to be relying on great players that they have to get the goals for them. And in this game, I guess it was just so many chances. I mean, the one that Klopp was kind of asked about after the game was the the Curtis Jones chance, but there was other chances, better chances, I think. Like, he was running full tilt, holding off a man, and he's not a striker, you know. They had 3 different attackers who missed better chances, like, you know.
And like Palace defended well. There was a lot of like last second blocks.
Yeah.
But it's just there was one where Salah was blocked from about 4 yards away from the goal. It was an unbelievable block, came out of nowhere. But it just felt like that was the type of thing in years past where Salah would do that player. Do you know what I mean? Like, you go up and that fella goes sliding by, you tap it in. It felt like that, like the composure is just not what it used to be. And again, this is like ridiculously high level. Where it's like no one has that kind of composure, but they did for a long time.
Yeah. Darwin, again, I think the tide is definitely turning on him now after this game. Like, he really need to score that one. He just turned and lashed it. He had no idea where the goalie was. Jota the Slaughter. That's what they call him. Like, he always finishes, always scores those chances. It was just one of those days where Palace felt like we have them here. You know, they're rushing these chances, and they were trying to maybe a bit harder. I don't know, but so many different chances they had. Yeah, I not to say I saw it coming, but I just felt like it wasn't controlled. Their wins weren't controlled. Like, we seen them go behind against Brighton. I thought, this is crazy. Like, this is a team that like everyone is beating at the moment. And yeah, they will beat them in the end, but like, it's just you can't let teams go ahead because there's always a chance that they can park the bus then, or you miss your chances, and that's it, you know. So yeah, it was a disappointing one for Liverpool. Very disappointing for Klopp, I'm sure, as well. I mean, you can see he's getting very, very sick of this whole thing now. He's already on the beach. He wants to be done with this, you know.
We'll play the clip here of it's just a bog standard regular post match interview, but it's the tone in his voice. You just can tell this guy has had enough of this.
Jürgen, I saw you puff your cheeks out at the end of that match at full time. Overall, what are your emotions after watching that performance this afternoon?
I am standing here and to talk about this game. It's really tricky. There are 2 different games, I would say, the first and the second half, if you want. First half was absolutely not good enough, so we showed the reaction. The reaction was that we lost conviction from the last game. It was like we tried to get rid of this, but that didn't work out as much as we wanted. Concede that goal, which is a horrible goal to concede. Completely free player in a 6-yard box, I think. That cannot happen, but it happened.
Yeah, he's lost any kind of media training he's ever had, which, to be fair, he wasn't usually that boring when he answered questions. But I mean, he's not going down the easy road here with the questions even. You know, it epitomizes the Liverpool way, honestly. Like just surely this should be easy. Sure, you have better players, pass around it, keep it tight. You know, get Salah in, but no, it's like let them go behind. Then we get the Klopp on our side, get the Anfield on our side. It's like it's crazy,
and even. I remember the criticism against Klopp for a long time. It was like the excuses, like the famous ones, oh, it's too windy, the grass is too high. That's all gone now. Again, for a manager to be saying like, oh, we're missing a lot of easy chances, and like almost in disbelief at it, I don't know how much confidence that instills in the lads up top in the next game. Do you know what I mean? When Darren's through on goal, is he thinking, oh, I have missed a lot? And Klopp was saying last week, I've missed a lot. Maybe I should think about this one.
But you have to fucking, like, you can't be, oh, I hope the manager says it's the grass this time and it's not me. Like, he knows. Exactly, like, fucking, like, he has to take responsibility and say, I fucking missed so many chances this year. Like, I mean, it's bad. And Arsenal were the same. They missed a lot of chances. Some poor touches by Saka and pushed it wide. And Trossard one, people were getting on Trossard a lot about the one that he missed. Like, that ball was whipped across. Like, it looks easy to do, but I mean, it was just one of the ones that came at him so fast. Like, Zinchenko's getting a lot of fucking abuse. I don't know if you saw, he's a double agent for Man City. It's like, he left a while ago now, you know, like.
He was there last year too, lads.
He was unbelievable last year. Everyone say he's one of the best sides ever made last year. It's just, people are angry and they turn on the players and they say, you're fucking useless and Jesus is this and that. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. We were only saying last week, Haaland's kind of coming under pressure because like all he does is score. All he does, he's an elite level finisher. All he does is score. But
he's a luxury player.
He's not a good player. It's like Jesus is a great player. If only he could finish, he'd be one of the best in the world. I mean,
could you imagine if Darwin Núñez had the goal scoring ability of Haaland and his pace and everything? He'd be literally like, he'd be better than Mbappe.
This is it. Like, how many players have everything? You know, there's very few players who have it all. I mean, if Nistelrooy was alive today, he'd be getting these tap-in merchant allegations every week, you know. I mean, there's not many Henrys out there who can score goals and look graceful doing it and run the pitch. Like, I mean, it's a rare thing, but I was thinking with this anyways, that like, sure, you know, if you have someone to put away the big chances, that's all you need. You know, you can have the rest of them be good players. But then I looked up the stats, Will.
Ooh.
Another stats for this podcast.
We've changed tact.
One of your, I think you didn't like this stat before. It wasn't technical enough sounding for you. It's big chances missed. I think you'd like the word big. It's like, what's that
big
mean?
is
You know?
too broad.
And I think it comes under XG. It's like goals you should score, I guess. You know, so big chances missed is the stat. Do you want to guess who number one is?
Big chances missed, is it?
Mm.
Yeah, it's a Darwin, I assume.
He's number two.
Ooh.
He's missed 25 big chances this season.
That sounds like a lot.
25 goals statistically.
Yeah.
He should have scored.
Yeah.
Like, that's a lot of goals that he, you know, we'll say even rumor for error, 20 goals extra. I mean, that's just in the Premier League.
That is still a whirlwind season.
Any other guesses, Will? Who's in the top five even?
Nick Jackson.
Oh, number four. Number four, Will.
Oh.
He's missed 18 big chances. So that's 18 goals for Nick Jackson. That puts him up a few more places on the table, I'd say.
Yeah, 100%.
No, number five, surprisingly, is Alexander Isak.
He scores a lot, so he does get a lot of chances then, I'd assume.
Well, that's a good thought process, Will. He's missed 15 chances. He's number five. Number three, Ollie Watkins had a stormer of a season. 19 big chances he's missed. But top of the tree is Erling Haaland, who apparently has missed 30 big chances this season.
Oh!
Now, he's on what, 28 goals? Oh, he's on 20 goals.
Yeah, something like that.
He's on 20 goals. He's level with Cole Palmer on 20 goals. Another 30 goals would be 40. Now, he scored 34 goals last year. We'll say again, 5 goals, maybe the stats aren't correct on it. That would be where he was last year. So that does kind of make sense.
Yeah, that does, yeah.
So, like, I was thinking, oh, yeah, well, it's just Haaland is such an elite finisher. But, like, he's having kind of an off season. They're still ahead. So it's not even just that Arsenal and Liverpool don't have a top striker up front. You know, it's that, you know, the whole thing, I guess. You know, I don't know what it is. That's what the stats point to, Will. I don't know what they mean. Haaland's has a lot of chances. Haaland's has more chances than anyone else. Jesus is even on that list. You know, he's in the top 10. But I guess he's missed memorable chances missed. Jesus, number one. Trossard, number two. I don't know, Will. I don't know what it was. It just seemed like maybe it is the pressure. Maybe it is like, you know, if we lose points here, we're fucked.
Yeah.
And I guess they are now.
Like, there's still a good few games to it. Well, not a good few, but there's 5 or 6 games left. Like, in the grand scheme of things, that is time for City to drop a single point. And I think the way the fixtures go, City don't play again because of the FA Cup. So Liverpool and Arsenal will have played again before City do. So if either of them win, they go top. And it'll be a week before City can turn it around. So, like, you could see, if that's like a Monday Night Football game and things go wrong, you could easily see it's like, oh, now Liverpool are back top, Arsenal are back top.
The only thing that might save Liverpool or Arsenal is the Tottenham. The Tottenham play all three for some reason at the end.
In whatever way that's happened.
Tottenham got hammered by Newcastle at the weekend.
Yes.
More pain for Postecoglou. Unfortunately, they won't change who they are, but maybe they should sometimes. You know, they keep conceding a lot of goals.
Now and again.
They're now out of top 4. They dropped out of top 4 into Europa League. This is a bit of a disaster for them now.
Well,
You
I
know.
don't know. 5th might still be Champions League. We don't. No one's told us for sure.
Assuming it's not on the coefficient thing that we don't know, I suppose. But it would be a disaster to even fall out of top 4 from being number 1 to 5th. And I know we joked about it, but our team's coming behind them. Is Man United capable of catching them? If it starts to unravel from here, you know.
Again, Man United did just draw 2-2 with Bournemouth. And also, there was no point during that game where I felt like Man United are going to get a result here.
Yeah. Well, nevertheless, they're not in great form going into a game that they must stop City from winning, you know. Not that they'll want to stop City winning so that Arsenal go in the league, but, you know, it looks very bleak for Liverpool and Arsenal, is what I'm saying.
Again, I think it's just the control aspect of City go into games, they'll fucking score twice, they'll keep the ball, and that'll be it. And Arsenal were doing that really well up until like a week ago.
It just they missed these chances. They missed Havertz and Saka and Trossard and Jesus. They all the players that you say give them one chance each. Someone score and none of them scored. It can happen in a game.
Yeah.
I mean, this is sport. You're not meant to win every single game either. It seems like I can't believe they lost the game when they didn't mean to. But that's what City usually do. They don't lose the game when they don't want to. So, yeah, look, there's Champions League in the middle as well. There's FA Cup. Maybe something will happen. But from this point, it does look very likely for City to go 4 in a row.
Yes.
Something that even the great Man United teams didn't do, Will.
Nope, they couldn't. They were a point and goal difference away from going 7 in a row. But point and goal difference doesn't matter.
Sure, that doesn't matter a fuck. We are about
That's what I'm saying.
Tough times. But here's a question for you, Will. How do you sleep at night?
I sleep pretty well. Pretty good.
Do you ever get memories of embarrassing things you've done?
Very rarely. Now and again, the odd Vietnam flashback.
Oh, were you teaching Vietnam?
No, it's never.
The war. No, I get flashbacks of things I've said in this podcast.
Yeah.
Bad takes, L takes, just like L's flying around my head all the time. Wrong, racist. All this kind of stuff happening. And one that's been haunting me recently for the last few weeks is my take on Xhaka, Granit Xhaka.
I would say the comment that put this podcast on the map.
If you really want to drag me, folks, go back a good few weeks now, I guess, when we put that clip up. But that I just said he's not going to win you anything. He's going to let you down again and again and again. He doesn't have it upstairs mentally. He's weak. He gets rattled in games. He gets sent off. And it was last year he played really well for Arsenal and didn't get sent off at big games or didn't, make any big mistakes. And I said, this is perfect. Sell him now when people think he's good, when they think he's good. And he's shown me, Will, like every time I make a claim on any professional player, they all go and show me. Like Holland hasn't scored since all he did was he proved me exactly wrong and then stopped scoring. He hasn't scored since. Just prove me wrong. Now shut up and then left. That was it. Then dipped.
Same with me and Rashford. I said he wouldn't score again. I think he scored 2.
That's it. That's all I need, Now they're wrong. And same with Xhaka. He went even further. He left Arsenal and not only did he win the league somewhere else, because I could just, anybody can win the league in Switzerland, Farmers League, etc. He went to the Ultimate Farmers League and won it with one of the farmers. That's how good he is, Will.
The Farmers Revolution.
The Farm Revolution in that's terrible. That'll get way more abuse than any racist thing will say.
Yeah, we'll put that up as a clip.
But yeah, he's gone and won the league with Bayern Leverkeusen. Bayern Leverkusen to the title at this point. They've won in April. This is what Bayern usually do to teams. They are on their way. I mean, they won in the Europa League as well. They're completely unbeaten this season. So on course to equal the points record. They won against Werder Bremen 5-0. They trampled home 5-0. Xhaka scored an absolute screamer the second. That was like to see that, like, okay, 2-0 up, we have it now. Take that call on the No Nonsense podcast, I don't know if you saw those goals. Julian Ritz scored an unbelievable hat-trick as well. They're an unbelievably good team, and he's at the heart of it.
Yeah.
I mean, fair play to him. He was in the Bundesliga team, Will, of the season in 2014, 2015. And I was come back almost 10 years later to win it. Interesting side note. Do you know 2 other current Premier League players and Premier League greats made that Bundesliga team the year in 14-15? Do you know who they are?
Current Premier League players?
Current Premier League players. 2 Premier League greats, this is to test your ball knowledge. Who was in the Bundesliga team of the year in 14-15?
Because I'd be thinking players like, who would be it? Gundogan, maybe?
He was 13-14. Well, you're getting your years mixed up. You're getting your Bundesliga team of the years mixed up.
Yeah. That's the one I have on my wall.
No,
I genuinely, I have no idea.
Kevin De Bruyne, Will, with Wolfsburg.
Oh, of course. Yes. Who Paul Merson called was it Paul Merson who called him a flop when they signed him? Or?
Yeah, this was his revenge season after kind of being a bit part player at Chelsea.
Mm.
He went over to Wolfsburg and ripped it up and then bought the City. And the rest is history, I suppose. On the left hand of attack, Will. Left side of attack. Who do you think was up there in 14-15? Current Premier League player. The clue is he didn't play for Bayern.
Is it Son?
Yes, Heung-min Son.
Yeah.
For Leverkeusen, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, I think that's right.
Yeah, they're all champions now, except for Son, of course. But you know,
they can never take that team of the year away from him.
anyways, Will, I just thought, what a great story. You leave Arsenal as they bottle another title, and then you go and Will.
You said you weren't going to say the B word.
You're right, Will. I lied again. So he leaves Arsenal as they lose another title, and he wins the ultimate title. I mean, if he won the league this year at Arsenal, I mean, I know it's not over yet. It's not done yet. If he won the league this year at Arsenal, that'd be grand. But it wouldn't touch winning the league with Leverkeusen against Bayern. Breaking the streak, the 11-year streak.
Breaking the streak, going unbeaten in all competitions. Now, I will say, probably going to be tough to finish invincible after you've won the league. Because I saw a lot of beer being poured on people's heads. I think the next game's going to be tough. I think Alonso got it like 4 or 5 different times.
Yeah, it was Frimpong running around getting people with the thing. He loved it. He was waiting all year for that, I think.
I tell you, a big fan of Frimpong. I saw all of his pouring beer on heads and how much he was enjoying that. And also a week or two ago, when weed was made legal in Germany, and he instantly did a weed celebration. You see that? Where he rolled a joint and smoked it.
Damn, he's relaxed and chill. Perfect combination for winning the title, it looks like. But anyways, Will, I was thinking, great for him. Fairy tale for Xhaka, end his career on a high. But what about players who did the opposite, left 1 year too early, just before glory? You know? So that's right, folks. I have another 11. Another 11 of... We've had a few nice ones, like treble winners over that. This is a tragic one. One of my favorite tragic 11s. So yeah, we'll start it off. In goal, Will, we have Gianluigi Donnarumma, the best goalkeeper in the world right now. No debate, unless he's playing in Champions League.
Miracle man.
He's working miracles currently at PSG, but he was a youth player at AC Milan. Was there from 2015 to 2021. So yeah, he moved to AC Milan Youth in 2013. So came up through the ranks, you know, on 21 side into the senior squad, made his debut like 19. He was the first player I ever saw that was like the replacement for a player, as in Buffon.
Yeah.
That everyone was like happy about. No one's like, he's never going to lace Buffon's boots. Even Buffon was like, this guy is the next me. You know, get him in the squad. They were in the Italy squad together. It was like the perfect kind of like crowning of the next goalkeeper for forever. And AC Milan probably thought the same thing. This is great. We have Gianluigi Buffon for the next, you know, how many ever years. He's an unbelievable player. It's all good. Then, of course, PSG came with the money. They gave an offer they couldn't refuse. A lot of money.
I remember in one of his last games for AC Milan, the fans threw loads of fake money at him.
Oh, really? Yeah. I guess they weren't very happy with him. But they showed him because the very next year, they won the Scudetto. Haven't won it in a while now. Haven't won it, I think, for 10 years. They hadn't won it. He was probably looking at it thinking, we're not going to win anything here. This club is a disaster. You know, PSG. Now, of course, he's won the league at PSG, but I mean, win the club that you were there since you were a boy. Yeah, all the way up. Where you made your name, you broke into the Italy squad. That would have meant way more than any trophy he wins in Liga, I'm pretty sure. So,
yeah, and like he's Italian.
And he's Italian.
It's the Italian league and he's Italian. Any player would want to win the league in the country they're from, especially a big league like that.
Yeah. So that was an example of someone who left, I guess, of his own accord. There is players in this who didn't leave of their own accord.
Booted out before they were successful.
Kicked out just before they hit the big time.
Which implies that you were the problem all along.
Yeah. I mean, for Donnarumma, they got in Mike Maignan afterwards. He was pretty good. And Olivier Giroud. But, you know, I think if they hadn't got Mike Maignan in, they still probably would have won it, you know. That's what's tough. But some of the other players now questionable. At centre back, we have Mats Hummels. Now you might think, Mats Hummels, what's he not won in his career? You know, what do you have to feel bad for Mats Hummels for? But
don't feel sorry for him.
Don't feel sorry for Mats Hummels. You know, World Cup winner, of course. But one trophy he never won was the Champions League. Now, he started his career at Bayern Munich. Not many people know that maybe, but he started as a boy at Bayern Munich, youth, in 2003. Made it up to the first team, got a few runs, like at this stage of the season, last 6 games, get him in, you know, give him a go. But not for me. Don't rate him. Sold him in 2008 to Borussia Dortmund. He would have the last laugh. He would go win back-to-back titles against Bayern Munich, win the German FA Cup, I guess, and looked like that team was going to go all the way. In 2013, we got Champions League final. Who did they play? Bayern Munich.
Yes.
Wasn't to be, 2-1 loss. And that would start the 11-year rule of Bayern Munich.
Yeah. And so it came to pass.
And so it came to pass. But, you know, at the time, a lot of the better Dortmund players left to join Bayern Munich or different clubs, but Lewandowski, Götze, a few of them. In Germany at the time, I guess the whole ethos was if you can't beat him, join him. You know, that was what most people kind of took on. Not Mats Hummels. He stayed a good while. Until, of course, he said, actually, if you can't beat him, join him.
Yeah, they were dead right.
And they had a few quarterfinal, semi-final exits with Mats Hummels. He was starting to slow down. He got dropped with the Germany team. Remember that? He got dropped, him and Muller got dropped nationally.
Yeah.
Maybe Mats Hummels lost the outer pace that he didn't have the first time. Maybe it's time to move on from Mats Hummels. So they did. In 2019, they sold him back to Borussia Dortmund. And then in 2020, they did it. They got the Champions League again. So if you look at it, Bayern has stopped him in the Champions League 2 different times, both while he was with them and while he was against them. Both times he was in Dortmund watching Bayern lift the Champions League trophy. He's never won the Champions League, and he probably won't at this point. I mean, they're still in this year, but you know, it's looking unlikely. So, and I mean, again, not to feel too bad for him. He's won a lot in his career, and seems like a pretty chill dude, to be honest. So I wouldn't feel too bad for him. Alongside him, Will, we have Koulibaly. Now, he was at Napoli, of course. Now, anybody who was looking at Paper Talk or Transfer Roundup from like 2016 to 2020.
Every week, yeah.
Every week, Koulibaly was going to shore up your team's defense. He was going to anywhere from Arsenal to Real Madrid, honestly. He was like that good. He was amazing. Napoli said he's not for sale. He's too important. There's no bid you can come in here. Oh, there's a few times that he was linked with PSG and different places like that. And then, you know, I think it was personal terms, which is like, you know, the wages or the fee.
Yeah.
Until Todd Bowley came in and said, I don't think you have a problem with personal terms
Get
or wages or fee or anything. So Napoli said, hey, you know, for a guy who's 31, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, well, holy shit, they said.
And off he went to Chelsea, where he would be exposed time and time again for his lack of pace in a completely unorganized Chelsea side. He would get the chance to watch Napoli win the Scudetto. Is it Scudetto?
Scudetto, I've always said.
Scudetto. Win the league in Italy.
Yeah.
For the first time in a long, long time. He was then out of Chelsea the year later, off to Saudi Arabia. They sold him on again. So, I mean, yeah, he was there for, 7 years? Then 1 year was sold, probably against his will. Sold, right, you're off to Chelsea. He kind of built that Napoli side. He'd been there for so long. He was like, we'll have Koulibaly, we'll build around him. And then I think they got in Kim, and then they won anyway. So I think they would have won with Koulibaly, but he got to get them all the way there. So many, you know, second place finishes and all that, but sold just before they won the big one. Now, a left back, we have that man, Mr. Zinchenko. Now, yeah, he won a lot of leagues with City, but mainly because we played the clip before of him saying, there's no reason we can't win the treble. You know,
yeah. Why can't we?
He was the one that believed the most.
Yeah.
He has not won the Champions League. Again, he's in it this year. We never know. They might do it. But he was sold just before they won it all, won the Champions League. He hasn't won it. He may never win it. But I think it's particularly annoying for him because they looked at it and they said, right, we got Cancelo, we got you. You got like John Stones and Rico Lewis. They could play in different positions, but it's mainly you two. We don't need you both. So we're going to keep Cancelo.
Yeah.
And then they sold Cancelo anyways in the middle of the season.
Actually, this guy's a fucking dick.
Which proves they could have kept you and sold Cancelo and you would have won anyways. So, I mean, it must stink for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think he probably won't win another one, to be honest. I don't think. And it's not going to be the same. He was at City for a while. You know, he would have felt part of that team. He might win one with this Arsenal side, maybe not, but it won't be the same. You know, it'll never be the same for him. On the far side now, we'll have a really tragic one.
Oh, good.
At right back, kind of right wing back, I guess, really. Gazika Mendieta. That name ring a bell, Will?
No.
You've never heard of Gazika Mendieta?
I don't think so.
Does the 2002 World Cup ring a bell?
Well, I do remember the 2002 World Cup, yeah.
Well, are you connecting the two?
I assume. But how was he exiled?
Gazika Mendieta is Spanish. How about that?
Yeah, I had that together.
Okay, you have his Spanish. who took the last penalty against Ireland to knock us out of the World Cup? Gazika Mendieta, Will.
Oh.
Yes.
See, this is what confused me. I thought you were saying that he missed out on the World Cup.
No. Just Irish fans might know the name Gazika Mendieta, because I do. I remember his blonde, floppy hair as he kicked the ball down the middle, and Shea Given should have stayed in the spot. Even then, it was like, you should have stayed there, Shea. He kicked right down at you, You died out the way. But no, he was at Valencia. Well, Valencia great. To this day, people will say he's a great of Valencia Football Club. Like I say, he played more as a right-sided player, but he started his career as a right back, so I think he can do a job for us. But I think the pain he caused us probably came from the pain he'd suffered his own career.
Oh.
Yeah. He suffered, 2 Champions League losses in a row with Valencia. Yeah, 1999-2000, he lost to Real Madrid. And then 2000-2001, he lost the final to Bayern Munich. He's now 27. He's one of the most sought-after players in the world at the moment. He's the kind of the creative spark of that Valencia side. And Lazio come in looking for him. But they just sold Varane to Man United, 2001-2002. So thinking, right, am I going to win anything here with Valencia? I mean, against Real Madrid or Barcelona, it's probably not going to happen. It's probably not going to happen for me. Maybe I should just go to Lazio, try it out. That would be the start of 2 leagues in 3 years for Valencia.
Wow.
And he was captain. Well, he would have lifted it. He would have been like...
Oh. And again, he's Spanish. It means more.
It means way more. He was there for a long, long time too. I mean, he was there... Yeah, he was there since 1992. He moved to Valencia B all the way up to 2001. Sold, and then 2 leagues in 3 years. Just missed the golden era. I mean, since 2000, only 4 teams have won the Liga. Real Madrid, Barcelona, Atletico, and Valencia. And that's the only 2 they won, and they haven't won it since.
And you have to think he was thinking during those finals, this is the golden era.
Well, it's just one of those things. Like, is it going to get better than this?
Yeah.
Are we going to get over the line? Have we failed 2 Champions League final losses in a row? Do you recover from that? Do you do anything after that?
The answer is yes.
Yeah. But don't worry, Will, it wasn't all doom and gloom. He got to go to Middlesbrough after that. Yeah, his move to Lazio didn't even work out. It was kind of a failed experiment, to be honest.
Of course, he had a lot in his mind.
Really bad situation there. He moved to Barcelona on loan, where they had one of their worst finishes ever. I think they finished 6th, 2003.
My God, this guy's a jinx.
Yeah, well, that summer, Will, they bought Ronaldinho, and they sold.
Don't need you.
Well, they let him go back to loan, and Lazio sold him to Middlesbrough on loan first, and where he'd win the Carling Cup. Will.
Hey, not so bad.
Yeah, so I mean, what, 2 La Ligas or the Carling Cup? What would you rather? In midfield, then we have another Spanish would-be champion, Thomas Partey. Will. Now, I thought he was kind of like just barely at Atletico Madrid, but turns out he was there for quite a while.
Yeah, I remember. I always remember him and Lamar were both there a long time. It felt like they were always there in FIFA anyway.
Yeah, no, he was. He was there from 2013. He joined Atletico Madrid under-19 team. Will then Atletico Madrid B, went along to Mallorca, Almeria. Kind of did his time, broke into the first team in about 2015 or so. Was there for a good 5 years. So if you remember 2013, he wasn't on the team that won the league in 2012, 2013.
Yeah.
He was just after that. So he came after they won the league all the way up to 2020, got sold to Arsenal, and then, of course, they do the undoable.
Yeah.
And they won the league again. So this is somebody you've been at for more than 10 years. If he was to win the league at Arsenal, it wouldn't mean the same. It just wouldn't mean the same. He again, not his choice either. He got, hey, listen, you're going to Arsenal. They're giving you way too much money for someone your age. You're gone, and we're going to win the league without you. So, yeah, pretty tough one for him. The one I thought of straight away, Will, Esteban Cambiaso. Have you ever heard of Leicester City FC, Will? Have you ever heard of the Foxes, Leicester?
Leicester does ring a bell.
They had kind of a bit of a magical run.
Yeah.
In 2015, 2016, Will, where they won the whole bloody thing.
The whole bloody lot.
But it started with Esteban Cambiaso coming in 2014. He was there for the 14-15 season. And at the time, people were like, he single-handedly kept them up. They have no other good players. He had an unbelievable season. It was, like I said, an Anelka-like performance at a struggling team. He kept them up. Apparently, they pleaded with him to stay one more year. They said, no, My time here is done.
No, I'm moving on to bigger, better things.
Bigger, better things. And I think some people will remember Esteban Cambiaso's time, but if he'd stayed at Leicester and won the league alongside Danny Drinkwater and Kante, he would have gone down as like, oh yeah, he was one of the best ever to do it. You know, in Premier League minded people's minds anyways, you know.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he left and watched Danny Drinkwater and Kante do it on their own without him. He couldn't have known, you know.
No,
but that was definitely
that's a crazy
They
one.
wanted him to stay. Alongside him, we have a kind of a workman-like player, Yuri Zhirkov, a player who's probably glad he didn't make it in American sports, I would say.
Yeah, you'd have a tough time of it.
He was at Chelsea from 2009 2011.
Oh.
He feels like a player who did win the Champions League in 2012. He feels like he would fit perfectly into that team. That kind of like, not the best player ever, but I mean, yeah, really solid. He went to the ill-fated experiment that was Anzi Makalala, Will. Remember that?
That's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
Yeah, the club doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
But he went for, I guess, probably a little bit more money than he was at Chelsea. And also, he was in Russia. So, you know, back to your home country for the same money. I mean, he wouldn't do that, you know. Anyways, he was at the the end, I guess, of that Chelsea side. He probably looked around going, there's probably not anything left in this side, you know, realistically. He was only 27 at the time as well. So he was in his peak. He definitely made that team. Definitely would have added that team. Anyways, that was a long time ago now, and he never won the Champions League again. That was his chance to win it. He definitely would have made that team, but yeah, what can you do? No Champions League for Yuri Zhirkov. Fourth person midfield. We're kind of playing a 4-4-2 diamond here, I think. Is where I'm going to put these guys in.
Old school.
Patrick Berger, Czech Republic, former footballer. You'd remember him from Premier League years. Scored a lot of screamers.
Everyone did then, though. It feels like.
Well, he came to fame, came to prominence, Will, in 1996 when he made the final of the European Championships with Czech Republic against Germany. He moved from Slavia Prague to Borussia Dortmund in 1995. You know, big move from the Czech League to Germany. You know, then he makes the European final and be like, wow, this guy's pretty good. This Czech team's good. This guy's also very good. So a year later, a year today, July 1st, 1996, he makes a move to Liverpool, Will. I mean, that's a no-brainer. Yep. You know, you go from Dortmund to Liverpool. That's more trophies instantly. You know, that's a big club. That just makes sense. You're rapidly rising to the ranks here if you're Patrick Berger, who won the Champions League in 1996, 1997, Will.
Was it Dortmund?
That's right. Borussia Dortmund. Yeah. Now, he had that treble winning year, the in quotation marks, treble winning year with Liverpool. They won the UEFA Cup,
yes,
the FA Cup, and the then Carling Cup, League Cup, I guess. He would be at Liverpool till 2003. So 2 years before they would also win the Champions League in 2005. So kind of was like dodging Champions Leagues at the prime of his career there for a bit.
Can't let you get too close.
You can't get too close, yeah. And he didn't. He didn't get that close really at all. He moved from Liverpool to Aston Villa to Portsmouth to Stoke, back at Sparta Prague, not Slavia Prague, over to the rival. He never won the Champions League, needless to say. That was his chance. Didn't get it. That was just, you know, who could have known? Who could have known leaving Borussia Dortmund would have mean you'll never win the Champions League? Surely Liverpool 1996, they'll win it at some point. You know, I'll win more there.
So it hasn't been that long since they won things.
It's only been 6 years, you know. It's a short spell. Up top then, Will, to link it nicely, is Michael Owen. Yeah, Michael Owen was at Liverpool a long time, from 1997 to 2004.
Interesting year again.
Now, a lot of people kind of think that Michael Owen wasn't very good, like past 1998, but he was still scoring goals. He was still banging in goals, you know?
Yeah.
He went to a Real Madrid team that had Raul, Ronaldo, Figo, and Zidane and David Beckham. You know, I think they were good on goals and goal contributions, you know? So they didn't really,
we're okay for... I think we can go without you today, Michael.
Yeah. It didn't really work out there. But he didn't get injured till he came back to Newcastle. In my mind, I thought he got injured at Liverpool and then went to Real Madrid on a free as kind of like, oh yeah, she will take him kind of thing. But he was like in top form, just didn't re-sign and then went to Real Madrid. So very much his choice to leave Liverpool in 2004. I mean, you know the strikers had up front when they won the Champions League in 2005?
Oh, fuck. I actually don't.
That's kind of the reason I'm saying. It's that they weren't, you know,
yeah.
Harry Kewell and Milan Baras.
Yeah.
Who were good. Who were good. I'm like, don't get me wrong. They were good players.
Harry Kewell was a very good player.
Not as good as Michael Owen was. If he had stayed, they definitely would have won with him. I mean, if they win at Milan Baras, they would have won with Michael Owen, you know? So that was, I don't know. He had never won the Champions League, obviously, as we know. He won the league with Man United, though.
God, did he?
secured his legacy at Liverpool for sure there, you know. And then up front, I think probably the captain of this team, Will.
Not good. not a band you want around your arm.
No, the most tragic player in this list, Ibrahimovic up front, Will. He did it twice.
Oh.
He did it twice. He had Inter from 06 to 09. And just before they won the treble, of course, the Champions League treble. Where did he go in 09, Will?
Was 09 when he went to PSG? Barca?
He went to Barcelona, Will, in 09. 09 or 10, he went there. Fell out with Pep, left.
Yes.
10-11, Champions League again. So he was the Muhammad Ali of Dodging Champions Leagues back then in his peak. As we all know, never won the Champions League, despite going to PSG, despite going to AC Milan, never quite won. Despite going to Man United, never quite got back to that level. Came very, very close to being there, but yeah, no joy, no luck for Ibrahimovic. So all those players typically will, they 1 year before left something that they would never win in their careers. So some are selective, some with chance, but yeah, pretty tragic 11.
Grass isn't always greener.
No, grass isn't always greener. I was thinking of on that, I was thinking of like kind of words, like schadenfreude, like a word that describes this. Maybe there's a word about this, you know? I was looking at different words and I found a German word. Torschlusspanik. As one gets older, the fear that time is running out and important opportunities are slipping away.
Yeah. Been there, bro.
I think maybe describes it the best. I don't know. But yeah, a tragic left too soon. 1 year too soon, 11. Who's the most tragic on this? Was Ibrahimovic, Ezekiel Mendieta, maybe Donnarumma?
Oh, it's a tough one. I mean, the Ibrahimovic is the maddest one, but he had such an unbelievable career that, he dodged Champions Leagues, but he's also like top scorer in clubs' histories at certain points, and you know, scored all those goals internationally. So I don't know if it is him. I think it could be. Do you know, Matt? It happened twice to Hummels and stuff. Because it's always the team that he went back to.
Yeah, I think he being at the same club again probably was
because he went back going, well, at least I'll get it now.
Yeah, there for 7 to 9, then sold, then 16, 19, 3 more years, sold back again. In between, Koulibaly, I find very harsh. You know, there for the bad years and then leaves before they achieve it all. You know, all thanks to Todd fucking Bowley of all people.
Yeah.
Get him in.
Yeah.
Well, as we say there, we can watch Mats Hummels and Zinchenko maybe right the wrongs of their past and get that final Champions League win this week. Dortmund versus Atletico Madrid and Barcelona versus PSG tonight. As we say, we'll be covering that game and Man City Arsenal on the Patreon episodes.
Yes, sir.
Ultras only, $4.50 a month. Sign up today. Link in the description of this episode. Lots more coming on that Patreon over the summer with the Euros coming as well. So, yeah, good time to sign up. Yeah. So, how was that episode, Will, in terms of what race would you describe that episode as? What kind of the blankest episode ever?
Oh, we've learned our lesson.
Honestly, that is nonsense. Nonsense. All nonsense.
It's embarrassing. It's a disgrace.
Yeah, I'm really disappointed about that question, but you thought obviously it's good. I enjoy every day of it. We're giving our supporters some joy and some belief and some hope.
You know, there's no law. There's no one's going to die.
Yeah, bin it, mate. Just bin the whole idea. Just forget about it.